Is Magic the Gathering more like Kingdom Hearts or Fortnite at this point? That's an excellent question. I wanted to graph it out, but it turns out you need more than one axis to represent what's really going on here. Let me explain, okay? I put Kingdom Hearts on one side and Fortnite on the other, and what I'm talking about here is looking at whether it's a separate world situation like Kingdom Hearts, where there are individual worlds that characters go between, and you take on the rules of those worlds, maybe the appearance. Like Sora going to Halloween Town, he looks freaking cool and amazing. That's very different than Peter Griffin showing up in Fortnite, where he's teleported to a different world from anyone else's franchise, and it's like a bunch of different guys coming together, or girls, we're progressive, into a space to brawl it out and duke it out. Those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum, separate worlds versus brawls. I'm going to say that they're opposites in that way, but there's something else going on too, because if I just look at things that are brawls, then Super Smash Bros. Is also over here. That's pretty similar to Fortnite, but so is Dead by Daylight. And that just feels weird, because they're very different in tone. Super Smash Bros., Fortnite, and Dead by Daylight are very different. A demon ripping off my skin or hanging me on a meat hook for my friends to come and save me is very different from Ariana Grande drinking a beer with Hank Hill, sniping me, and then doing the gritty. So I think we need another axis, and I would call it the silly to serious axis. All of a sudden, now Kingdom Hearts, which is a separate world situation, is separate worlds, but it's also pretty serious. I'm going to say it's towards the corner. This corner up here is where I'd put Kingdom Hearts now. And another thing that's pretty similar to Kingdom Hearts, if you think about it, is actually going to be Doctor Who, because he's teleporting around to different like worlds or places in time. He's playing by the rules of those places and times generally, and it's a pretty serious tone, but it can be kind of silly. But the characters are generally chosen for serious reasons, so it's going to be like over here-ish. Now, Fortnite is a brawl game where a bunch of guys are going to a battle zone from different worlds all together to duke it out. But it's also very silly now. Like I said about Peter Griffin or Ariana Grande hitting the gritty. It's going to be like over in the corner. Very silly, very brawl. Now, I would say that a good mix between silly and serious is actually, and also a brawl, is actually going to be Super Smash Bros. I'd say that's basically like this end of the spectrum, which is kind of where we put Fortnite before, but it's really a better fit for Super Smash Bros. If you think about it. Now, on this graph, we do have the Kingdom Hearts to Fortnite spectrum, if you drew a line between them. Now, where does Magic the Gathering fall between them? I'm going to say it actually depends on the type of Magic the Gathering you're talking about. I think that a Magic the Gathering game where you were like at a table, you built your deck, somebody took their cards from one set and a bunch of cards from another and put them all together, that's actually like right smack dab in the middle of silly and serious, and from separate worlds and brawls where planes are kind of separate rules, but you can come together and battle in this separate place from everything else. So it's very much in the middle. That's going to be a Magic the Gathering duel or like game. But here's the thing. We were talking about in this video the Sephiroth versus SpongeBob who would win in a fight thing because SpongeBob clears, he solos your favorite verse. A Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond thing like that is going to be closer to Fortnite. It's going to be over here because it's sillier and it's more like a brawl. It's more like different characters coming together into a separate place than like individual little worlds with their own rules. This is Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond, right? And on the other hand, the lore of Magic the Gathering separately, like separate from the game and from the Universes Beyond, the lore is actually pretty serious and is closer to a separate worlds thing. There are some situations, like with the whole War of the Spark, where a bunch of different worlds collide, but generally, characters are taking on the appearance of the worlds that they like planeswalk to, or go through the Omen paths to, or whatever it is now, I don't know. So this is going to be the Magic the Gathering lore. It's a little closer to like Doctor Who or Kingdom Hearts than something like Fortnite. I think that's, a pretty good way to look at this. By the way, I would put Dead by Daylight as a very serious brawl up here in the corner, and in the silly separate worlds category all the way in the opposite corner, I would actually put the Lego Star Wars, like the Lego video games, that whole universe, I'd put that over there, because the stories themselves are very silly. It's very silly to turn Chewbacca into a Lego character. But it's also entirely like a separate world. that these, either the Star Wars characters are sent to the Lego world or Legos are sent to the Star Wars universe. I don't know what way that goes, but I would put them over here. So basically what I'm saying is Lego Star Wars and Dead by Daylight are polar opposites in a similar but different way that Fortnite and Kingdom Hearts are opposites. And Magic the Gathering is pretty square in the center of our Brawl versus Separate Worlds serious and silly spectrum. So Magic the Gathering is a good center point still, I would say. It just, the Universes Beyond is a little Fortnite-y, but not quite there yet. Don't worry. It's not that bad. I could probably get some kind of diagnosis if I showed this to my therapist, I think. What do you guys think? Should I do more? Do you disagree? Let me know.